Okay, so we're going to show you this really cool joint pumping thing. This is really good if you have any sort of arthritic conditions in your hand. You could do this with any joint in the body to create more fluid movement and hydrate and lubricate the joints, but we're going to show you with the hand. So just let's take, I don't know, the left hand to begin with, and you want to hold it pretty close to your body just for support, and then think about the joint between the rest of the hand and the pointer finger, and you're going to grab the pointer finger in a pincer grip like this, and then just pump the joint, moving it toward the hand, and it's not pulling, it's pushing. So just pumping over and over. There's all sorts of, every joint in your hand is surrounded, I'm gonna speak very generally here, but by a fluid-filled sac. So don't get too caught up on that visual because that's a very general description. Okay, move to the next joint. So we're talking the middle finger and pump. And so by doing this, we are encouraging that tissue that secretes the synovial fluid, is what the fluid's called, to secrete more of that fluid into the joint. Okay, and then the next joint. And when you do this, pump in an irregular pattern. We hope you're following along at home. So as you're doing this, you can't mess it up. So, I mean, you're not going to do this wrong. And you're probably not going to hurt yourself. So irregular pattern, so maybe like, you know, if we're talking Morse code, dit, dit, dot, 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 and then dit, 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 dit. So just switch it up. This is much more powerful. Let's go to the next one, the pinky finger. Much more powerful if somebody else, like a therapist, is doing this with you, but you can help yourself in this way too. So you're pumping in an irregular pattern. Don't get caught up in just doing one pattern. You're using not a whole lot of pressure, but just enough to really feel the compression in the joint. Okay, so we've done all the joints close to the hand except the thumb. So let's go ahead and do the thumb. So that pincer grip. For about 15 or 20 seconds on each joint. We're going to move through these pretty quickly. So now let's go to the next joint in the pointer finger. So just pumping that joint. Compression, not distraction, not pulling, just pushing. It's interesting, so we'll go to the next one. You could do this anywhere and benefit your hand. So if you get bored in your next meeting, start pumping your joints. But in all seriousness, if you're, waiting and you're at your desk or hopefully working on the floor like we've talked about, and you have a little downtime, start pumping your joints, because this is super, super beneficial for the joints in the hand, and you'll notice why here in just a second. So now the pinky. And as you're doing this, your brain is picking up on the sensations of compression in each joint, which helps your map of the joints. Let's go back to the thumb. So the far joint on the thumb, the most distal joint on the thumb. Don't get caught up in like, well, I can't stabilize my thumb. If you're doing this to someone else, you would grasp each side of the joint. So if you can get a partner to do this for you, they're going to grasp each side and pump the joint in irregular pattern. So now let's move to whether you're doing this with somebody else or yourself, move to the pointer finger. So a second ago we were talking about mapping, and if you haven't seen our video about how to handle hand cramps, we talk about mapping the hand. If you were to do that video, let's go to the middle finger. And this together, wow, your hands would feel amazing. Be a really good thing if you use your hands all day long for work, to do every day even. Okay, and ring finger. So this joint pumping will have sort of a temporary benefit in the joints. The sensations associated, the beneficial sensations associated with this technique won't last a really long time, but you can keep doing this over and over. Let's go to the pinky. Over and over, and really change the health of the joints in your hand. Cool. Now, so for the fun part, just start to move your fingers around, flexing and extending. And the really cool thing is that as you do that, you'll probably feel like the joints that you pumped are lighter. They glide easier, they're freer. The whole hand may feel like a different size than the other hand and way lighter generally. Yeah, you could also do the wrist, by the way. And you could spend time working on whatever joint you struggle with. So let's say you have a joint in the toe, or there's a particular finger joint that you really struggle with. You could spend time with that joint, just pumping that joint, and also benefit yourself. So that's our joint pumping video for you.